How's it? Today is Wednesday, December 2nd, and I have another installment of the Power Clean and Jerk series in my quest for the 125 kilo Power Clean and Jerk. I don't really care about the jerk. I know I can power jerk that. I care way more about the Power Clean. So last week I hit a 121 kind of power. It was definitely below parallel, but it was also definitely way above, like bottoming out on the front squat. And today I kind of did a similar thing, but today instead of doing 121, I ended up with 123. So that's a very different story. I think overall, like speaking, um, it's like it's like 2 kilos. 2 kilos is could be arguably, I don't know. I feel like 1 kilo is enough to make a big difference in the amount that it feels like and the amount that you actually end up lifting. So yeah, I think as far as my other warm ups before it, I think it felt pretty good. I felt pretty snappy. I felt very controlled. I think as I get closer to hitting 125, I will need to be more precise. I think the kind of timing issues that I've been facing are are making it so that I can't quite get to the correct height that I want it to be at. So when I get the height on the bar from the extension, the bar reaches its apex, and then I end up catching the bar as it starts to come down, and that is enough for me to get pushed down below parallel. And that's something I've been kind of working to overcome for a while. I think last week, the reason why last week was so challenging was because of that. And I think also a similar thing uh, that happened for today. But yeah, so as we watch the videos here, I am nearing my top set here. It's 110. I feel like 110 a couple months ago was a challenging weight for me to power clean. Like I would have gave you a maybe a 60% chance of making it, but now it feels like 110 is like a weight that I will never miss. So I think that's a big improvement on where I used to be. So yeah, so here's my first set at like that prescribed 120. So this I think is a power. As far as watching that video, right? Like if you rewind it, I think it's power. It's like right at parallel, maybe a little bit above parallel. But here's the one that's the questionable one, right? Well, I know it's not quite a power, but it does go right below the parallel, and that's where I really care about it. You see there, like I get enough height to get the power height, but I just wasn't able to execute. With that little turn out from my back foot was not the best from me, but there's nothing else I can I can do about it now. So after that, I moved into 4 sets of 4 at 147. So this is the next, like it's like the next 5% up from what I did last week. So last week I believe was 75% of 182, so about 136, 137. So I think I did 137 last week. For it was, I think, 6 triples. I could be making a mistake on remembering that, but as far as today goes, because I was able to do the squats from yesterday, um, Steve wanted me to keep the sets and reps a little bit um, lower. So I think he said between 12 and 16 total reps, and so I ended up doing a combination to add to 16, right? So 4 sets of 4. Um, these are these don't look as good as well, actually they felt pretty bad, but I think the issue that I've been facing with these is that I don't really care about them. So my technique as far as getting set is very inconsistent. So this rep right there, that's a very good first rep, right? But as I kind of move beyond the first rep or first couple reps of each set, the the need to just complete the set, it kind of outweighs, in my head, it outweighs the need to be technically proficient. I think this was probably the best set I did the whole day in 3 sets. A third set, sorry. And I got my final set here. Yeah, so you see that my hips pull out of the hole before I even am moving the bar. And that creates a lot of issues elsewhere, because I think the goal for me on the sumo deadlift is to make it so that I push with my legs instead of pull with my back. And what's happening a lot of times now is me, if I raise my hips, right, it just ends up pulling with my back, and that's not as transferable. I mean, it still is valuable to have back strength. It's just not the most transferable to the weightlifting movements. So after that, I moved into some accessories, just the barbell bent over row for a heavy set of 3, and then a down set of like 3 10s. So yeah, I do 102, which is about like 225, and then I go into my dumbbell overhead walks. I wish I could do bigger dumbbells, but they only have 70s here, which is not really challenging. I think if I did more steps, it would be more challenging, but at that rate, like, is it worth it? I'm not super sure. And then after that, I finished off with some back extension with back extension holds. So that was a thing that Steve changed last week, from having them on separate days to putting them together, and that is a miserable experience. I mean, it feels like I'm working, and I really enjoy that, but once I'm done and off of it, it's really hard to really like walk around properly. I'm like leaning forward because it feels like my lower back can't support my weight, which is honestly absurd. Like, considering this is just a bodyweight movement, and that I think about like all the Chinese lifters and all these people who do this with like 40 kilos on their back, or 40 kilos on their neck, and that just is mind blowing to me that I am dying with just my body weight. Yeah, so here we go. Right, just the 30 seconds. You see, I'm already drifting. This is only the first set, but yeah, I think hopefully next week I'll be able to hit a heavier power clean. We'll see. But yeah, thank you for watching. Shoots.